The Titanic, once known as the Ship of Dreams, is now known for its tragedy, mystery, and intrigue. Even before its fatal voyage, the Titanic captured the minds of people, filling them with varied ideas and emotions. Hello, I'm Tammy Knox. I was 11 years old when the wreck of the Titanic was found on September 1st, 1985. I remember watching the light from the submersible move around the wreck of the once beautiful, majestic ship. The sight that met my eyes was eerie, ghostly, as the light swept across the objects in that underwater tomb. I was immediately fascinated by the discovery and wanted to know more about the Titanic. In 1997, I was fortunate to visit Titanic, the exhibition, fueling my imagination and interest in the great ship even more. Eventually, my research of the Titanic's history, my love of mysteries, and fiction would lead me to the publication of my first book. My book, Trapped on the Titanic, is a children's historical fiction, mystery, and ghost story. Set in 2012, the 100th anniversary of the Titanic sinking. The publication of my book has allowed me to visit the Titanic Museum attractions in Branson, Missouri, and Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, for book signings, author conferences, and other events. In 2021, I turned my book into a screenplay. In a few moments, you will hear an excerpt from my book, Trapped on the Titanic. The video then showed images of the boiler room and the engine room. A brief stop was made at the bridge where the announcement of iceberg right ahead was heard. At 11:40 p.m., according to the virtual image clock, a grinding tremor rippled through the ship. An iceberg sticking 50 to 100 feet out of the water had scraped the side of the mighty Titanic. The virtual image passengers at first did not believe there was any apparent danger. At 12:45 a.m., the first lifeboats were lowered into the water, only partially filled. The ship's band began to play lively ragtime songs to alleviate any fears or panic. The virtual image people, still not believing the ship would sink, continued to do normal activities. At 1:30 a.m., things changed as panic filled the air as the inevitable sinking of the Titanic was realized by rockets being fired and the tilting of the ship. The majestic Titanic was going down. The music of the band became more somber and patriotic. A call for women and children to climb aboard the few lifeboats left rang through the cold night air. Suddenly, the virtual image video went blank. A static ripple showed on the screen. When the video began to play again, the scene of the middle-class suite showed on the screen. "What is wrong with this thing? This isn't supposed to be showing," the tour guide said, puzzled. "Listen, everyone, I believe we are having some technical difficulties. So hang on and we'll get back on with the show," the tour guide announced. As the problem was being checked on, the scene of the middle-class suite was continually playing. As Callie watched the scene, the girl from the portrait appeared. "Oh no, not again," Callie whispered. The expression on the girl's face was the most terrifying sight Callie had ever seen. Her face was ashen and twisted with fright. Her eyes were huge and vivid like a beast in captivity. She was beating on the door. To Callie's ears came the sound of her cries and screams. "Help me! Somebody save me! I'm trapped! I can't get out! Somebody please hear me!" The screams became louder and more painful. Callie put her hands over her ears, but she couldn't get the horrible sound to go away. Instantly, the video changed back to the women and children on the lifeboats. Cries of grief and panic were coming from the ship. The band was playing "Nearer, My God, to Thee." The time was 2:18 a.m. and the Titanic was vertically sticking out of the water. In a matter of 2 minutes, the gigantic ship would be gone forever. As the ship sank and the cold black water drew over her as a curtain, a cold, vast emptiness filled the air. All of a sudden, a static ripple went through the video again. Once again, the middle-class suite showed on the screen. A moan went through the group as the tour guide apologized for the problem. "I am so sorry this is happening. We have never had this trouble before. We can't seem to find the problem. Please bear with us." To Callie's eyes, the scene was different. The room was wavy, like she was looking at it underwater. Like before, the girl appeared. This time there were no screams or cries. A deathly silence was all around. The girl seemed to be suspended in midair as her beautiful nightgown billowed about her. Her body slowly drifted, suspended in the water. A look of icy death had taken its place on the girl's face. Her fair hair flowed around her face as she stared at her underwater tomb. The scene was just too much for Callie to bear. She left the exhibit hall and went to the restroom. She looked at herself in the mirror. Her face was pale and her lips purple. Her hands felt cold and shaky. She felt a sick lunge in her stomach. She didn't know why she was seeing all of these horrible images. Why couldn't anyone else see them? What was happening to her? After she calmed down for a few minutes, Sue came in. "I thought you came in here. Are you feeling okay?" Sue asked. "Yeah, I guess so. I think I'm just coming down with something." "Ready to go? I think there's just a few more exhibits and then we're going to go eat." "Maybe you'll feel better then," Sue said encouragingly. Callie really didn't think that eating was going to make her feel better, but she tried to smile in agreement so Sue would not worry about her anymore. The next few exhibits contained artifacts from the wreckage of the Titanic. Jewelry, trunks, glasswares, children's toys, and other objects from the Titanic's disastrous past were displayed. An eerie feeling came over Callie as she looked at the different artifacts around her. To think that she was looking at the belongings of people who had died so long ago and so tragically made Callie sad. If only each artifact could talk and tell her their story. The last exhibit of the tour was a large replica of the sunken Titanic in her watery resting place. As Callie stood there staring at the rusty replica before her, something moved in a porthole of Deck B. "Help me! Save me! Please help me! I'm going to die!" The voice whispered around Callie's head. Callie leaned forward on the glass of the exhibit. "What do you want? What do you want from me? Leave me alone!" she whispered back to the voice. As we remember the tragic sinking of the Titanic, I'd like to encourage you to learn more about it, see exhibits of the Titanic, and see how it can inspire you.